Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we do here is fire. You guys know the drill. So let's get right to the YouTube show I have for you guys today. We're going to be going over men's college basketball. March Madness is here, ladies and gentlemen, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the March Madness bracket. We have the men's bracket right here. We have the women's bracket right here. We're going to be going over both women's and men's. This year, I'm going to be doing it different. I'm going to be doing both the men's and the women's. Over the previous years, I used to go with my friends, my boys. We would do a tournament type thing and a bracket with a bunch of people in it, and we would just play, bet in, put money. I'm going to be doing that as well. I'm going to be doing one with my godfather. He has his own bracket that he's doing with his boys, and I'm going to do it for him. And then I got, I got me and my dad are going to do the men's bracket together. We're going to see if we can get it going. I'll be posting that on TikTok, so see what you guys got. And then on top of that, me and my cameraman, Kevin, will be doing the women's bracket. So we'll be going into both of those things later on tonight. So either I'm going to go on TikTok Live tonight to go over it, or I'm going to go on TikTok Live tomorrow. Probably going to be tomorrow because it's much more easier, and I don't have to worry about going to sleep super, super late. So we're going to go probably with that. But I'll keep you guys tuned in. If you guys don't see a TikTok Live to join, then you guys know it's going to be tomorrow. Wednesday, we might have a special guest, one of my friends that I haven't talked to in a while. He might jump on to talk some men's college basketball. We'll see. I haven't discussed that a little bit, but we're hopefully to get that. I'm going to go over just the bracket, what's happening in each game, where I got going. Wednesday, probably tomorrow, because Tuesday it starts everything at like 6:40. So probably midday after I get home from school, we're going to be doing the TikTok Live, going over the men's college thing. And then on Wednesday, before the round of 64 start with everybody, me and my boy, if he jumps on or just not me, we're going to go over what all are my picks and his picks as well. His first, because you guys probably would already know my picks. So let's get right to it. We're only doing one segment. Well, two segments. We're going to do men's college basketball and women's college basketball. So first up in men's college basketball, we have some stuff. So let me present it to you guys. So if you guys have not checked out the bracket yet, we're going to do men's college basketball right now. So here we go. So let me share the screen so you guys can see. We're going to scroll down to men's college basketball, and we're going to start right here. So let me get back to the screen. We're going to full screen it. Okay, so if you guys are looking, Tuesday, tomorrow, March 19th, the first four in Dayton, Ohio is number 16 Wagner versus number 16 Howard, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, whoever wins this game will play number 1 North Carolina on Thursday, March 21st in the round of 64 at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. Now, if you move down to that game tomorrow, you have number 10 Colorado State versus number 10 Virginia at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. We'll see what happens here. Whoever wins that game will play number 7 Texas also on Thursday at 6:50 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. And then now on Wednesday, March 20th, which would be another first four in Dayton, Ohio, would be number 16 Grambling versus number 16 Montana State at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Then you have number 10 Colorado versus number 10 Boise State at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, moving on from Wednesday, you go into Thursday. Now, Thursday, March 21st, round of 64. Not to mention, guys, this is Recap Monday. If you guys did not check out my audio shows, you definitely should. We went over Justin Fields getting traded, Aaron Donald retirement. Earlier today, Leighton Vander Esch calls it a career, and we get into this particulars on those. But now we're here. So now we move to Thursday, March 21st, the round of 64. You have number 8 Mississippi State versus number 9 Michigan State at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. You have number 6 BYU versus number 11 Donquins at 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time. You have number 3 Creighton versus number 14 Akron at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You have number 2 Arizona versus number 15 Long Beach State at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Then, like I said, you have number 1 North Carolina versus number 16 Howard / number 16 Wagner. Whoever wins that game, 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. You have number 3 Illinois versus number 14 Morehead State at 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. Then you have number 6 South Carolina versus number 11 Oregon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. You have number 7 Dayton versus number 10 Nevada at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. You have number 7 Texas versus number 10 Colorado State or number 10 Virginia at 6:50 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. Now you have my Kentucky Wildcats versus who's ranked number 3 versus number 14 Oakland at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. You have number 5 Gonzaga versus number 12 McNeese at 7:25 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. You have number 2 Iowa State versus number 15 South Dakota State at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. Then you have number 2 Tennessee versus number 15 St. Peter's. They made it. They made it again. See if they can go on a run. If St. Peter's beats Tennessee, my God, St. Peter's, man, they're doing everybody dirty the last 2 years. 9:20 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. Number 6 Texas Tech versus number 11 NC State, 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. You have number 4 Kansas versus number 13 Stanford at 9:55 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. You have number 7 Washington State versus number 10 Drake at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. Now, listen, guys. For Tuesday, Wednesday, I really don't care. What I think is going to happen Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm probably going to go with Colorado winning against Boise State. I'm going to probably go with Montana State winning against Grambling. And I'm probably going to go with Colorado State to get the win over Virginia. And I'm going to go with Howard getting the win over Wagner. So that means Howard would play North Carolina. Colorado State will play Texas. That's what I'm going with there. There's going to be a matchup. When you see Colorado State versus Texas, maybe. But Colorado, man, whoever they verse, they're going to have a problem with them. Now, Mississippi State versus Michigan State. One guy last night on ESPN had Mississippi State going, I believe, all the way to the Final Four or the Elite Eight. Mississippi State's got the team to do it, bro. My God. But they're going to have a tough matchup against Michigan State, mark my words. Creighton versus Akron, I think Creighton gets that. Arizona versus Long Beach, not even close. North Carolina, not even close. Now, if you look at South Carolina and Oregon, this is going to be a tough matchup. It can go either way. Oregon has the talent to go far. We'll see. This is going to be a tough matchup. Like I said, guys, I'm not going to really pick any of the things. I'm going to wait till tomorrow and Wednesday to go over what my picks are. But I will be posting the brackets tonight or tomorrow, what I did with my dad and what I did with my cameraman Kevin to go over what we were doing with women's and men's. But I'm also going to enter into a men's and women's online. So I'm going to do it with the ESPN women's and men's, and then plus with my friends, we're going to do that. And then these 2 brackets as well. So I'm going to have a lot, and then my godfather. So we're going to have a lot of stuff. So I'm going to take pictures of each one so you guys can see my choices, my brackets, and we'll see if I can run the table and win this shit. We'll see. It will be fun to see. Now, Kentucky versus Oakland. Kentucky should ride through it. Number 7, Texas versus Colorado State or Virginia. Whoever wins Colorado State, Virginia, better watch out. Texas is great, but man, Texas, they gotta come to play. Gonzaga, nah. Iowa State, nah. Tennessee versus St. Peter's. St. Peter's is a scary team. Don't think Tennessee will lose this game, but Tennessee gotta play. Texas Tech, NC State. NC State might take this, man. Washington State versus Drake, Washington State. So we got somewhat. I'm not going to tell you guys everything that I'm projecting, but at the same time, you got some players. You definitely have some players. Now we move on to Friday. Saturday is the round. March 23rd is the round of 32. That is to be determined. So we don't know any of that. We'll have that coming to you after Friday. So after all the Friday games, well, after all the Thursday games, I should say, Those Thursday games will be played on Saturday. The Friday games will be played on Sunday. So we'll check that out later on in the week. But let's take a look at what's happening on Friday, March 22nd. The round of 64 continues as number 8 Florida Atlantic versus Northwestern. That's going to be a great game at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. Then you have number 3 Baylor versus number 14 Cowgate at 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. You have number 5 San Diego State versus number 12 UAB at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. You have number 2 Marquette taking on number 15 Western Kentucky at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. You have number 1 UConn taking on number 16 Stateston at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. You have number 6 Clemson taking on number 11 New Mexico at 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. New Mexico's a scary team, man. I wouldn't be surprised if New Mexico gets the win and the upset over Clemson. Auburn versus Yale. 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. The 4 versus the 13. Number 7 Florida versus number 10 Colorado State or Boise State. Like I said, I think Colorado gets that. It's a scary game for Florida taking on Colorado. I think Colorado has the potential to win and get past the round of 32 to get to, I believe, the Sweet 16. But we'll see. I think Florida has a great team as well, but they lost one of their big guys last night when they had one of them, their guys go down with an apparent where he broke his leg and the blood was coming out of it was so gruesome. If you guys want to watch it, you can. I couldn't watch it. It was so bad. As a basketball player that's still trying to play basketball and still playing basketball right now, bro, my leg was killing me yesterday. It was funny. Once I heard that, I was like, damn, my leg's killing me. I felt it. I felt the pain, man. Obviously, I wasn't there. I didn't feel it, but I feel for the kid. Now, that's at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. And number 8, Nebraska versus number 9, Texas A&M at 6:50 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. This is going to be another good game. Number 4, Duke versus number 13, Vermont at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. You have number 1, Purdue versus Grambling or Montana State. This is going to be a blowout. Alabama, that's at 7:25 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. You have number 4, Alabama taking on number 13, College of Charleston at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. Number 1, Houston versus Langwood at 9:20 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. Langwood is 16th. Houston just got demolished by Iowa State, but they're versus Langwood. Number 5, Wisconsin gets number 12, James Madison. James Madison's a scary team as well, but Wisconsin, I think, got the goods. And they're at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. You have number 8, Utah State versus number 9, TCU at 9:55 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. You never know who's there. We'll see with that. Utah State, TCU, basically a toss-up. Number 5, St. Mary's versus number 12, Grand Canyon at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. St. Mary's probably going to run that. So we'll see. Saturday, got a couple games. Then you move to Sunday. So I mean, we got some good games, man. So that pretty much rounds up what's going on in the men's college basketball world for the round of 64 and the first 4 in. So we'll see what happens in the near future with that. But I'm going to be moving on from men's college basketball, and we're going to go into some women's college basketball. Now let's get to that. So we're going to present that right now. All right, so let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesday, March 20th. So they start March 20th, the first 4. You have number 16, Sacred Heart versus number 16, Presbyterian at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPNU. Then you have number 12, Vanderbilt versus number 12, Columbia at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPNU. Thursday, March 21st, the first 4, number 11, Auburn versus number 11, Arizona at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. You have number 16, Holy Cross versus number 16, UT Martin at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Now we move. Those are the first 4 for Wednesday, March 20th and Thursday, March 21st. And then on Friday, March 22nd, we'll mark the first round of the women's college basketball March Madness tournament. So we'll get you guys in that in just a sec. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to Friday, March 22nd, the first round. You got North Carolina versus number 9, Michigan State. We will see what's this battle is going to be unfolded. It's going to be a pretty good battle, I should say. You got number 8, North Carolina versus number 9, Michigan State, 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Then you have number 2, Ohio State versus number 15, Maine at noon Eastern Time on ESPN. Number 6, Louisville versus number 11, Middle Tennessee at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. You have number 1, South Carolina taking on Sacred Heart / Presbyterian at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I'm probably going to think Sacred Heart's going to take down Presbyterian to verse number 1 South Carolina. South Carolina is just on a tear in the women's D1. Just in general this season for college women's basketball, it's just been remarkable. They almost lost, and then they got that game-winning buzzer beater by their big one, the big. So she jumped out to the 3 and knocked down that 3-pointer, which was ridiculous. Then you got number 7 Duke versus number 10 Richmond. It's going to be a pretty classic game. 2:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN News. Yeah, number 1 Texas versus number 16 Drexel at 3 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN U. And number 4 Virginia Tech versus number 13 Marshall at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN 2. You have number 3 LSU versus number 14 Rice, 4 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Angel Reese is taking on number 14 Rice. They should get the job done there. Number 4, Kansas State versus number 13, Portland at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN News. Number 8, Alabama versus number 9, Florida State at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN 2. You have number 5, Baylor versus number 12, Vanderbilt / Columbia. I would probably go with Vanderbilt winning against Columbia, so they'll versus Baylor at 6 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN U. Number 5, Colorado versus number 12, Drake at 7 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN News. Number 7, Iowa State versus number 10, Maryland at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN 2. Then you move on to number 3, Oregon State versus number 14, Eastern Washington at 8 p.m. Eastern time on ESPNU. You have number 2, Stanford versus number 15, Norfolk State at 10 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. Number 6, Nebraska will versus number 11, Texas A&M at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPNU. So you'll see what happens there. I mean, you got some really good games on Friday. We'll see how good they actually become. Now we will move on to the still first round. We'll go into the rest of the games on Saturday, March 23rd. You will be watching number 6 Tennessee versus number 11 Green Bay at noon on ESPN. Number 3 UConn versus number 14 Jackson State. Paige Beckers is finally getting a healthy opportunity to compete in March Madness. We'll see how they do throughout the March Madness bracket at 1 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. You have number 4 Indiana versus number 13 Fairfield at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. You have number 8 Kansas versus number 9 Michigan at 2 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN News. You have number 2 Notre Dame versus number 15 Kent State at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. You have number 3 NC State versus number 14 Chattanooga at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPNU. You have number 1 Iowa with Caitlin Clark, the cerebral assassin from deep. She can literally hit any three-pointer you ask for. Versus number 16 Holy Cross / UT Martin at 3 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. You have number 6 Syracuse versus number 11 Auburn / Arizona at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. I'm probably going to go with Auburn taking down Arizona. Number 5, Oklahoma versus number 12, FGCU at 4 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN News. You have number 1, South Carolina versus number 16, A&M Corpus Christi at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. You have number 7, Ole Miss versus number 10, Marquette at 4:45 Eastern time on ESPNU. Number 8, West Virginia will versus number 9, Princeton at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. You have number 7, Creighton versus number 10, UNLV at 7 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN News. You have number 4, Gonzaga versus number 13, UC Irvine at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. You have number 2, UCLA versus number 15, California Baptist at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. You have number 5, Utah versus number 12, South Dakota State at 10 p.m. Eastern time on ESPNU. So that really rounds out what's happening in the women's bracket. If you guys have any questions, you guys can comment down below on the YouTube show and ask me some questions. What are my plans for whatever? But it probably will be up later in the day tomorrow. But we'll see. But what do you guys think? I mean, I think we're in for a great March Madness brackets for both the women's and the men's. I think both of them are just ridiculously good. You got a bunch of teams. You got a bunch of stars. Angel Reese from women's. Caitlin Clark. Paige Beckers, just to name a few. right there. Then in the men's, Zach Edey, Love, Zach. You got a bunch of dudes. Reeves, Shepard, Dillingham. I mean, the list goes on and on for men's and women's. You got a bunch of stars. I think both teams are good. Both brackets are going to be ridiculous. There's going to be some upsets. There's going to be some crying people, and there's going to be some happy people. I don't think it's going to be like last year where no one projected anything to happen and all these big things happen. We'll see. I don't think so. I think it's going to be totally different than last year. I think there's going to be some consistency with it. I don't think there's just going to be like, well, all these big names that were supposed to be in the Final Four, Sweet 16, Elite 8 championship lost the first round of 64 and the round of 32. Don't think it's going to be like last year. Think it's going to be way different, way more exciting, and just in general, more coming together. A lot of people are going to be rooting for Kentucky, Tennessee, Kentucky, Tennessee, UConn, Purdue, Houston, Arizona, Mississippi State. You got a bunch of dudes for the men's, and then the women's, LSU, Caitlin Clark, and Iowa, USC, Paige Beckers with UConn. It's a bunch of one. Oregon, Iowa State. You got a bunch of ones for the women's. You got a bunch of ones for the men's. I think this is going to be competitive, and I think this is going to be this is awesome, man. This is better than the NBA for my liking, and I love the NBA. I just think this is better competition, there's a better difference in the way they play, and they play for each other. They don't play for individual. They play for each other, which is great to see. So, we'll see what happens in the near future with this. But that's our Recap Monday. Recapping what happened on the conference tournaments, all those teams that made it. And all the teams that slipped out, like St. John's, better luck next year. Just got to keep competing and keep plugging away. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for my YouTube show here on the Fire Sports Pod. I appreciate all the support, guys. Let's keep going up from here. Love you all out there. And let's have a great men's and women's college basketball March Madness brackets. Good luck to everybody out there that are doing their brackets now. Peace out. I'm your host, Zach Jackson, here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we do here is fire. You guys know the drill. Peace out. Have a great rest of your Monday afternoon. Here on Recap Monday, I'm your host, Zach Jackson. Peace.